Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome. Would you join me now, please, in welcoming the President of the George Washington University, Dr. Stephen Knapp, Dr. Guillermo Gutierrez, and our very special guest of honor, Carlos Slim. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure now to introduce to you the 16th President of the George Washington University, Dr. Stephen Knapp.
Thank you, Madam Marshal, Ambassador Sarakan, Secretary Babbitt, distinguished members of the international community, Chairman Ramsey, university trustees, faculty, students, staff, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to welcome you all to the home of our Elliott School of International Affairs for this important ceremony in which we honor a truly great leader of enterprise and a great humanitarian and humanist. And we'll be turning in a moment to present a citation, at which time I will be conferring on our guest of honor the President's Medal, which is a very high honor that we award to those who have achievements that set them apart on the world stage, and that is certainly true of today's honoree. I do want to say, on a personal note, how happy I am to see so many friends here. We also have members, we also have the family of Carlos Slim represented in the person of his son Patrick, who is here with us today, and his good friends, Dr. Guillermo Gutierrez, and also Dr. Marion Wolf Gutierrez are with us, and many others who have come to greet him here this afternoon. And we look forward to a reception afterwards in which we'll be celebrating the occasion. We hope that as many of you as possible will be able to join us on that occasion. But I also want to say that I was privileged just a short while ago to be visited by Carlos Slim in the residence we have for the President here on campus. My wife Diane is with me as well today, but our residence is the F Street house just a few blocks from here. And on that occasion, it was a luncheon conversation in which I truly had an opportunity to confirm firsthand what I had heard, so much of what I had heard about our guest of honor, about his wisdom, his humility, his insights into world affairs, into the global economy, into the arts, of which he is a splendid patron, as well as his passionate concern for and dedication to the people of his country, to the world beyond Mexico, and all that he has done really to reach out in fields like health and addressing poverty. You're going to be hearing about some of that in the citation, but it was a fascinating conversation, and I have to say that behind stage here, it was supplemented by my opportunity to witness another dimension, which is his extraordinary, and I dare say, encyclopedic command of baseball, which is quite impressive. And he and the chairman of our board, who also has an interest in baseball, began a conversation that I actually thought they might be talking about international trade or business affairs, and I might be left behind as that conversation went on. I was actually left behind much more quickly by the conversation that actually did transpire. But it is a great pleasure to have an occasion to honor someone who has such a breadth of interests and such a breadth of commitments as our guest this afternoon. And so I would like to ask Carlos Slim, would you please join me at the podium? And it is now my honor to read the citation. You are a distinguished son of Mexico, which is justly proud of your many achievements. You have had a profound effect on your country's economy, creating countless jobs and developing enterprises that span the spectrum of human endeavors. At the same time, your philanthropic efforts have enriched countless lives. The seeds of your remarkable business career were planted early on when your father, who arrived in Mexico from Lebanon in 1902, joined one of his older brothers in business. He instilled in you a sense of financial responsibility and you inherited his aptitude and ability. At the age of 12, you made your first investment, buying shares of Banco Nacional de Mexico. In 1961, you graduated from the National Autonomous University and went to work for a prominent engineering firm in Mexico City. In April 1966, you married Sumaya Damit Jemael, and together you raised 6 children. In her honor, you later built Museo Sumaya, which contains some 64,000 objects. In the late 1960s, you turned to business and began acquiring companies. Today, your portfolio contains many of Mexico's most successful companies. In 1990, you purchased Telmex and transformed the delivery of telecommunications services. In 2008, you bought a large stake in the New York Times, an investment that generated international headlines. Your life is more complex, however, than the bottom line. Your passion for art is coupled with a keen interest in baseball, as befits a man with a talent for statistics. In addition to an interest in and reverence for finance, you inherited from your father a deep understanding of the importance of family. Your family members have been and remain a central part of your business and your life, and your dedication to family has been an inspiration to the people of Mexico and to others around the world. Throughout your life, you have dedicated your abundant energy, talents, and resources to the betterment of your fellow human beings. You created the Telmex Foundation to help eradicate extreme poverty and to improve the quality of life of the Mexican population. You established the Carso Health Institute to improve health and to fight disease in Latin America and beyond. In short, you are what the Mexican philosopher Antonio Caso Andrade declared to be the ideal human being: moral, willing, and spiritual. Carlos Slim, for all the foregoing, the George Washington University is proud to bestow upon you the President's Medal. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. President Knapp, Ambassador Sarkhan, dear friends, it's really a little complicated. I write some notes, I change the notes, I don't know how to say. It's more than an examination, a professional examinations, but I will try to order some ideas. I wait not to be so long. I make some notes, but like I told, I change them. First, to tell that I am very pleased and honored with this award, this President's Medal. Thank you very much, President Knapp. It's really an honor to have this distinction from this great and recognized university, this George Washington University, that is not only important because of his highly academics studies, but also the location is important because for the influence that you can have around the heart of the United States and so many times the heart of the world. We are living a very special situation, a crisis, and if it's not I will try to talk something about that. First of all, it's important to know or to think, that's my point, that it is not a time of changes, it's a change of times. We are living a change of times because a new civilization with new paradigms. This new civilization with new paradigms is, like you know, a society of technology, of knowledge, of information, the digital culture, but it's mainly a society of services. It's a society where democracy, freedom, liberty, diversity, plurality, competition, globalization, productivity, innovation, technology are the new paradigms. And living this tough crisis, I think it's so important that U.S. get very strong and healthy for the good of the world. The decisions that this country will take are so important for everyone, and I think it's very important in this moment to know where to go and what to do. And being in a new society with these different times is, in my opinion, also that very important that our governments work in two main areas. First of all, living this crisis to minimize the social effects of the crisis, to minimize, to make it less aggressive. And we know that we can grow without labor, without employment, but also we can have employment without growth. I think this should be these times. Employment without growth to minimize the social effects of the crisis, to make efforts in this way. But also there should be a transformation, a big transformation, a structural transformation in many areas, and work in these two directions. First, to work in the crisis, and at the same time, work to make the transformations to arrive to this new society. And which are the fields that should be make a structural change? I think that should be in the health and retirement services, in the health services, in energy, in the environment, in the care of the environment, structural changes that should be done with a long-term vision, but also a global vision, no? A long-term and global vision to make these changes in the best way to be at the end of this situation, living, taking in account the new paradigms. If you think a little, you will look that in the agricultural society, people begin to work at 6 or 8 years without any education. In the industrial society, people begin to work at 16 or 18 years in the factories with only basic education. Today, most of the people in this society of knowledge will begin to work at 25, 26, with at least college studies, university studies, and many of them every time more with postgraduates, with more studies. That means that people need to work more time. When you begin to work at 16 years, you retire at 60. But when you begin to work at 25, you will not retire at 50, no? Or 55, you need to look other kind of things. And the research in genomics, the research in health should be very important to make these very expensive health services of cancer, kidney, heart diseases, to make feasible to have universal service for all the population. So I think that these changes, this transformation of these sectors, including the industrial sector, that should be changed. We are looking now that how it is changing some industries, like the auto industry in the United States, and they should be changed another more worldwide. We look at how these changes should be done to make it feasible and work and make them easy to work. With these changes, with the long view and the global view, I think also it's very important to don't make big mistakes. You know that we need a healthy U.S. worldwide and a strong country, and because that will be good for everyone. But also the mistakes are a problem for everyone. That's why it's very important that things will be managed in the good way. We are a little worried all around because we feel that the solutions are looking for big fiscal deficits that should be paid in the future, that can press for inflation, for deterioration of the currency. I think many of the issues that are working to avoid this crisis and to make it minimize and to get out of them are taking too much time and maybe too much deficit, and many of them can be without a deficit, let's say like the financial institutions, to stabilize financial institutions by the way of capitalizing them at the end of 5 years or 4 years will be not a fiscal deficit, will be a fiscal superavit because the banks will move and will do a lot better. And the stabilization of these institutions is very important because we need to normalize credit, and credit is the chain, the point that links the financial economy with the real economy, no? And we are very worried about the real economy. That's why we need to normalize stabilize the system and go to the normalization of credit. Well, what should be done, I think, is to work strongly, and universities with this high level of education are very important to make research, to make propose solutions to the government.